Mickey Haller walks to court. He is approached by a bail bondsman named Val, who asks Mickey to take up a high-profile case. Mickey asks for the details first, and Val mentions that the accused is the son of real estate biggie Mary Windsor, and she wants to put up her Malibu beach house as collateral for her son's bail of $1 million. Mickey asks about the charges and learns that the son's name is Louis and he was charged with violently assaulting a woman. Val says that he pitched to the client to hire Mickey and asks him to persuade the family to use his services instead of putting up the beach house. Mickey agrees, and Val mentions that the hearing is at noon in Inglewood. Mickey agrees and walks inside the courtroom. Since he hasn't got much time, Mickey approaches the bailiff to bring out his client, Harold, ahead. The bailiff doesn't agree at first, and Mickey offers a Christmas present worth $200 to help him this time. The bailiff accepts and makes the call. But before the court begins, Mickey talks to his client Harold for not paying up. Harold mentions that he has spoken to his guys and that he will get the money soon. So, Mickey mentions that he will see to him not getting out that day. Harold protests, but Mickey tells him to wait and see. As soon the court session begins, Mickey requests the judge for a carryover since he is missing a key witness, and since the defense agrees as well, the judge approves. Harold couldn't believe him, and Mickey leaves, telling Harold to give his guys a call. Mickey walks outside to his Lincoln car from which he works and tells his driver Earl to drive to the courthouse at Inglewood. On their way, Mickey gets a call and he tells Earl to put on his headphones. It was Lorna, Mickey's assistant, calling him to get updates about his schedule, and she also tells him that one of their regulars, Gloria, called for him. After the call, Earl notices a biker gang following their car and asks Mickey what to do. Mickey tells him to pull over, and their leader Eddie walks over to ask Mickey to take care of Harold. Mickey informs that he needs an additional $10,000 to clear things up, since he has to bring down an expert from New York. Because of this, Eddie gives him the cash and tells Mickey to bring Harold out since he is the best farmer they got. As they leave, Earl asks about the guy from New York, but Mickey corrects him, saying no one is coming since all the best people are right there in Los Angeles. Mickey reaches the courthouse and calls for Louis. He introduces himself and Louis starts talking about the charges. Mickey immediately tells him to stop talking till he gets him out on bail and starts asking basic questions to learn about his background. Right then, another inmate interrupts them, introducing himself as Collis and saying that he needs a lawyer too. Mickey tells him to back away since he is talking with his client and that he will find another lawyer soon. Hearing this, Collis walks away and Mickey continues to question Louis. Louis mentions that he got no past records, and as Mickey asks for a confirmation, Louis mentions that the only thing he ever got were parking tickets. At the court hearing, the attorney assigned to the case is Mickey's ex-wife Maggie, who argues for no bail, but Mickey counters with Louis's clean record and gets a bail of $1 million, and the judge also orders Louis to wear an ankle tracker so they know where he's at all times. After the hearing, Val praises Mickey for a good job and reminds him about his request. Mickey assures him and meets Louis's family lawyer Cecil Dobbs and suggests him to use Val's services, stating that putting their beach house might delay Louis's release. Mickey also questions Cecil why they chose him. However, Cecil reveals that it was Louis who asked for Mickey to take his case since he read about an article mentioning Mickey working on a similar case before. Mickey realizes that Val lied to him, but he tells Cecil to make the payment up front and leaves after telling Cecil that they will have a meeting that evening. Earl drives Mickey to the county jail, where Mickey meets with Gloria like Lorna reminded him. Mickey tells Gloria that he cannot get her out like usual, and this time she has to go to jail and join the pretrial rehab instead. Since Mickey's her best choice, Gloria agrees, and Mickey makes a deal with the prosecutor with his offer and gets Gloria in for a pre-trial rehab at USC. In the evening, Mickey heads to meet Louis at his office and meets with Louis's mother Mary and their family lawyer Cecil. Mickey introduces them to his investigator, Frank Levin. Mickey informs Mary that she is not protected by attorney-client privilege and that the DA can force her to testify against her son. Because of this, Mary agrees and leaves the room. Having everything else ready, Mickey asks Louis to explain what happened on the day. Louis begins telling that he is innocent and starts going through how everything went down. Louis frequented a nightclub, and on that day a girl named Regina, who was there with another man, approached Louis and gave him her number and her address. So later that night, he saw the guy she was talking with earlier leave her place, and he knocked on her door, and as he entered, she hit his head, knocking him out. And when he woke up, he was pinned down by her neighbors, and that's when he realized that he had been set up. Following his story, Frank takes out his findings and reveals reveals that neither the club nor the other guy have been mentioned in the discovery file from the police. And Frank also shows a picture of a knife for which Lewis mentions it is not his. Seeing that the odds are in their favor, Mickey suggests they go to trial immediately since Lewis also asks for it. In the morning, Frank comes to see Mickey with the camera footage from the club's owner, and watching it confirms Lewis's story about Regina approaching him with her number. Frank also discovers that Regina is a prostitute. Mickey goes to receive the case delivery file from the district attorney, Minton, and presents the evidence to him. But to Mickey's surprise, Minton wants to pursue the case and offers a deal of 7 years prison time if Lewis pleads guilty. Mickey asks Minton how Lewis could have assaulted a woman who practically threw herself at him by giving him her contact information. The next day, while reviewing the delivery file with Frank, Mickey finds that the picture of the knife is different in the file and realizes that Frank's guy played them. Seeing that the odds are against them with the true facts out, Mickey goes to confront Lewis, who is playing golf. Mickey questions him for lying about the knife and that he lied that he did not know about the woman. Lewis mentions that he did know that she was a prostitute but did not mention that since Cecil was with them before, because he was afraid of him telling about this matter to Mary. Since that is the case, Mickey understands but asks him why he lied about the knife. Lewis makes it clear that the knife he saw wasn't his, but Mickey questions him again about not mentioning that he had one in the first place but the one in the picture is not his. Lewis reveals that in the past, when his mom was showing the property to the customers, she was assaulted. He only found her later since she was not responding to his calls, and since then, he always carried a knife for self-defense. Mickey makes it clear that Lewis follows what he says if he wants to stay out of prison, and leaves. Later that day, Mickey comes across Detective Curlin, who brings up Martinez. Curlin asks whether Mickey visited Martinez since he got sentenced for life for the murder of a woman named Donna Renteria. Hearing this, Mickey notices some resemblance to Lewis's case and finds the old case file. As he reviews it, he figures out that Donna had bruises similar to that of what Regina got at present. Mickey thinks back to the time when Martinez pleaded that he was innocent, but since all the evidence was against him, Mickey did not hope for him to be let out. Mickey never believed that Martinez was innocent, but instead, Mickey suggested that Martinez plead guilty so that he could avoid the death penalty and serve a life sentence, so he can at least have a chance at parole after 15 years. With this discovery, Mickey flies to San Francisco and heads to San Quentin State Prison to visit Martinez, who's not happy to see him. Mickey wants him to go over everything that happened that night at the club one more time. Martinez sees no purpose in going through this again, but because Mickey pleaded that he goes over once, Martinez mentions about visiting the bar, and he immediately fell in love with the girl called Donna, and she even offered to do a private dance for him. But he mentions that she was talking with another guy before she came over to him. Mickey shows Martinez random pictures of guys and asks him to identify if he remembers anything. Martinez doesn't want to, but he quickly becomes agitated when he sees Lewis's photo. Mickey arrives at Frank's place feeling guilty about convincing Martinez to accept life in prison. Mickey tells Frank everything, and Frank reminds him that Lewis is his client now, so he can't go to the police because he's protected under privilege. Mickey can't go to the DA as well, then he'd lose his license. Mickey realizes that this was the reason Lewis wanted Mickey to take his case. Frank tells Mickey that he's got a client in jail for something his other client did. Mickey arrives home while talking to Maggie on the phone. He sees that the door is open and he goes inside to find Lewis there. Lewis tells Mickey that he overheard him on the phone that he went to visit Martinez in prison. Lewis also confesses to killing Donna, and Mickey cannot say anything because he is protected under attorney-client privileges. Mickey tells him to leave since Lewis is not in a position to feel relaxed. On Friday, Lewis's trial begins and Minton addresses the jury, first going over what Lewis did. Mickey gives his opening statement as well, informing the jury that Regina is a prostitute and she targeted his client because she knew he was wealthy and that the entire case is fabricated. The judge adjourns the hearing and that the first witness shall be called on Monday. The following day, Mickey watches his daughter Haley's soccer match, but he is interrupted by Maggie, who informs him that Frank has been killed. Mickey rushes over to Frank's house and is immediately shocked seeing him lying dead on the floor. Detectives Langford and Sobel question Mickey about any suspects in mind, but Mickey leaves, telling them that Frank was an ex-cop, leaving them to do the investigation. Leaving the place, Mickey rushes to find Val. Mickey confronts Val for lying about Lewis before he took the case. Mickey tells Val that Frank is dead and he is sure it was Lewis who did it, and Val might have helped him since he is the one who has the control over Lewis's ankle tracer. Val pleads innocent and he doesn't have anything to do with Frank getting killed. The next day, when Mickey plays his messages on his answering machine, He hears a message from Frank telling him that he might have Martinez's ticket out of prison. But right then, Frank says that someone's at the door and he'll get back to him later. Mickey contacts Detective Sobel and informs her of the message. She asks him to send over the tape. Mickey asks for any lead on Frank's killer and Sobel informs that the type of gun used to kill Frank is an old Colt Woodsman. Hearing this, Mickey panics and rushes over to find his gun case only to find that the gun is missing. He immediately realizes that Lewis might have taken it the other day and now used it to murder Frank. The following morning before trial, Lewis acts innocent, feeling sorry for Frank, but Mickey tells him that he knows who killed Frank. Even then, Mickey proceeds with defending him and the man from the bar who Regina was speaking with is questioned by both Minton and Mickey, but they end up with no major discovery during the hearing. After this, when Mickey heads out, Detective Sobel and Lanford pay Mickey a visit with a search warrant for his house and Sobel wonders why he didn't mention it when she told him about the type of gun used to murder Frank. They search his house for the weapon but they don't find it. Later, Mickey meets with his assistant, Lorna, who informs him that she has located Corliss, the witness he requested. She tells Mickey that Corliss is presently in rehab at USC. Mickey thinks that he just got lucky and goes to find Gloria. He meets with her and asks her to do something for him. Gloria finds Corliss and tells him to contact the DA and he can get out. Lewis's trial continues and Regina is called to the stand. After a fierce cross-examination, Mickey makes Regina confess that she spoke with an attorney to use Lewis to get money. After Regina, Lewis's mother Mary is called to the stand. Minton questions her about the knife and after learning the whole story behind it, Minton ends up speechless with no further questions for her. After the trial, Mickey tells Lewis that the latest deal is for Lewis to spend 6 months in jail but Lewis rejects this offer because he wants to be let out as innocent. Mickey agrees and leaves telling Lewis to be ready since he will be on the stand for the next trial. When he gets in the car, Mickey asks Earl to get something for him. Right as planned, on the next day Lewis takes the stand and gives an emotional testimony telling the jury he is innocent and that he is being framed. While Lewis thinks everything's going according to his plan, Minton requests the judge to take the night to consider a rebuttal witness, which the judge grants. Lewis questions Mickey about this witness but Mickey tells him that he has no idea. The next morning, before the trial begins, Mickey checks with the bailiff and confirms that Corliss is on the list. He goes outside to meet with Lorna and asks her to be on standby outside. As Mickey enters the court, Detective Curlin questions him why he was subpoenaed to the court since he had no connection with the case. But Mickey tells him to wait and walks on. Detective Sobel and Langford are present as well. Maggie also comes to cheer for Mickey. The judge asks Minton to proceed and he calls Corliss to the stand. Mickey objects and Minton reveals that Corliss has come forward to testify against Lewis with what he heard from him, since he shared the holding cell before he was sent to prison. Lewis gets furious and the judge tells him to calm down. Mickey quickly follows up and skillfully plays along stating that the word of a jailhouse snitch cannot be trusted but he does not object to Corliss being called. However, Mickey requests the judge to let him make a call to his investigator. The judge agrees and Mickey goes out to call Lorna and tells her to come in with the papers in about 15 minutes. After Corliss is called to the stand, he testifies that he met Lewis in the holding tanks and Lewis told him that he gave a woman what she deserved. As Mickey questions him, Corliss goes on to say that Lewis was bragging about it and that he's done it before except the last time he killed the woman and got someone else to take the blame. Mickey acts shocked and returns as Lewis tells him that this is a setup. Minton, though surprised to hear this for the first time, continues to ask for more details. Corliss says that Lewis explained in detail and even reveals the tattoo his victim had on her body. Hearing this, Detective Curlin gets shaken up and walks outside understanding what's going on here. Langford follows him outside and Mickey makes sure that Lewis understands what's happening now. The judge calls for Mickey and he looks at his watch since it is about time and like he planned, Lorna walks in with the papers. He tells her to leave the building immediately. Mickey presents evidence from a previous case in which Corliss testified similarly but it turned out that the defendant was innocent. The judge gets furious after hearing this and sends the jury to an early lunch and lashes out on Minton for bringing in a documented liar on the stand, a man with a record of putting innocent people in jail. As they leave the judge's chambers, Mary and Lewis notice Minton rushing away as if he is upset and ask Mickey what that is about. Mickey tells them that he is going to talk to his boss because the judge wants to take the case away from the jury and declare an acquittal. While Mary and Cecil rejoice, Lewis follows Mickey to the restroom and demands to know where Corliss got the information. Mickey tells him that maybe Frank told Corliss and that's why Lewis killed him. As the trial continues, Minton informs the court that his superiors have decided to dismiss all charges and the judge orders Lewis to be released immediately. family. As Mary comes forward to thank Mickey, he tells her to stop, and right then, the detectives walk over and Curlin arrests Louis for the murder of Donna Renteria. Mickey asks to speak with Louis and tells him that he got him out and he is no longer his client. Louis tells him that he still has his gun, but Mickey reminds him that he has to explain how he got it in the first place. As Louis is led away in handcuffs, Detective Langford comments to Mickey that he's crazy for having his client get free from assault only to be caught for murder. However, Mickey clarifies how they don't have solid proof to hold Louis for the case. Langford mentions that is the case, but with what is going on, the defense attorney won't let Louis go free easily after what just went through. Mickey walks back to his car and Earl tells him that he got what he asked for and hands over a gun to Mickey, informing him that it came from a reliable source and it is clean. Mickey returns home and Earl leaves after telling him to take care. Mickey listens to Frank's message one more time and calls Maggie, asking her to retrieve all of Louis's parking tickets. He tells her that he asked Frank to do this and he might have found out that might put Louis at the scene of the crime. Maggie agrees and she tells him that Louis was let free just now. Mickey is alarmed to hear this and tells Maggie to take Haley and stay at her sister's place until he calls her. Right after, Mickey calls Val to check if Louis still has the tracker on and asks Val to find Louis's location. Val gives him the details and Mickey figures out where he is headed. Mickey rushes to Maggie's place and waits for Louis to arrive. Louis tells him that he came for his family. Mickey takes out the gun and tells him that he has one chance to leave, but Louis questions whether Mickey is going to be here every day. Mickey tells him that he's not going to give up until Martinez is set free and Louis gets convicted for Donna's murder. In that case, Louis tells Mickey to shoot him right there, but Mickey tells him that he won't. Right then, Eddie arrives with his gang and smashes Louis's car. Louis walks over in fury only to get caught and get beaten up. Mickey leaves after reminding the guys to send him to the hospital and not the morgue. As Mickey returns home, Maggie calls to inform him that Louis got a parking ticket outside Donna's apartment on the day of murder. Mickey smiles and tells her that he is on his way home and will come get her and Haley after an hour. Mickey returns home to find Mary inside and tells her to get out. She blames Mickey for setting up Louis, but Mickey says that the one who was set up was him, and that he is going to make sure that Louis goes to jail for killing Donna and Frank. Mickey tells her to leave, but Mary shoots Mickey and says that she was the one who killed Frank. Mickey quickly draws his gun and shoots Mary. Then he calls the police for help. The next day, Earl picks up Mickey from the hospital, reminding how he told him to be careful. Mickey tells him to drive and Earl informs him that Martinez has been released from prison and Louis is set for the death penalty. But right then, they are once again followed by Eddie's gang and Mickey tells Earl to pull over. Eddie tells him that Harold got caught again and wants Mickey to help him out. Mickey tells him to call back with the details and Eddie asks for a discount this time. However, Mickey tells Eddie that this one's going to be free. Eddie leaves happy and Earl asks Mickey if he's alright. Mickey says that they're repeat customers and he will stick it to them the next time. Earl smiles and they ride away to get their next case. Thanks for watching. I will see you again in the next video. Until then, this is your host for Movie Recap signing off.